Hey everyone, so I thought I'd make a quick video just to run through some of the work we've been doing here at Blueprint, in particular our Battle Arcade project. So for those of you who don't know who we are, we basically started out asking the question, what if we could come together as a community and design solutions to some of the problems that, we face in our towns and our cities. And there was a load of emerging themes that kind of came out of those conversations around community regeneration, access to opportunities, transport, culture, heritage. And one of the main things that stood out for me was a conversation with a mum of three who was like, look around you, we've got empty shops everywhere. Where are the jobs? My kids are not engaging in school, they're dropping out of college, they're stuck to their phones. What is there for them in this town? And that really stuck with me, and I wanted to help her. I wanted to try and design something that could inspire kids to, do something, get into industry, learn new skills, and take ownership over their town. So I thought, what if I built an arcade? Like arcades are fun, it'd be something for kids to do. And a traditional arcade is something like this. You've got your motorcycles, you got all these flashing lights, all these different carnival games, you got basketball hoops, and essentially, I realised quite quickly, you go into a place like this and you burn through £20 in like 2 minutes. You collect all these tickets, and you win a pack of Haribos. And I was thinking, like, I just had a good time, but did I just get scammed? And I wanted to basically reimagine what a games arcade could be in the future. And what I came up with was essentially something that is built by the community, it's affordable, it's sustainable, using upcycled materials, it's fair, so like none of the games are rigged, and it's competitive. So I had this crazy idea of basically you could collect points every on every game that you played, and it would connect to like a real-time leaderboard, so you're battling against everyone else in the town to win prizes that are actually worth winning. But I thought, what if we took it a step further? What if, if you volunteered in your local community, you could earn credits that you could then spend in the arcade, or you could get food or drink, and you could, collect digital items for completing missions and things like that. So I realized quite quickly these games are super expensive. It's literally like 7 grand for one of those basketball machines, which I didn't have. So I was like, oh, what if we built them? Like how hard could that be? So we were lucky enough to get some shared prosperity funding through local government and Carmarthenshire County Council to basically trial this idea. And we had this opportunity to take over an empty retail shop in the town centre and basically turn it into our open studio for the month. So we were inviting people in to kind of see what we were up to, help us design the games, and pretty much build it as we go. So the first thing on our list obviously was this basketball machine. And I had a friend who had a link in a warehouse that was chucking out all of these old shipping crates, like basically OSB sheet material. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that off your hands. We can definitely build something out of that. And that's essentially what our basketball machine was built out of. So we spent like 50 quid on the electronics that was like sent in when the ball was going through the hoop. We designed like a simple framework. None of us have ever done this before, but it was an amazing, experience to kind of share some of the skills that I had with these young people. But they were getting hands-on experience in, problem solving, working as a team, and just getting stuck in to try and like bring this dream to life of this basketball machine that we couldn't afford. And it was a huge success. So you can see here, like everyone was super, super competitive, trying to get the highest score. I was actually top of the leaderboard for a long time until I got knocked off. But it was amazing, you could see everyone obviously having a great time. On the right here, you can see each player has a unique code. So the game recognizes who you are, it takes your credits, and then it uploads your score to a leaderboard. So you can see on the left there, that's the leaderboard, and it's all real time. So as soon as you get that score, it kind of shifts up and updates. So we ran a VR giveaway. So towards the last kind of moments of our shop closing, people were in there. So yeah, we've built this digital platform where every player can customize their own avatar, and the idea is that we're going to develop this app where you complete missions, you get an inventory of like collectibles and things like that. Basically, driving like this mix of digital and physical. The next game we looked at was a reaction time game, and this was essentially just built out a sheet of plywood that we drilled some holes in and stuck some buttons in. But everyone kind of chipped into building it, the framework. We were teaching people how to use the 3D printer, building tools for ourselves to make sure we're making things square. I was teaching these guys how to strip cables and solder them into the microcontroller. And there's me testing to make sure it doesn't fall off the wall. But it was amazing, kids were literally just walking in off the street and getting the opportunity to get stuck in and figure out, okay, how does this thing work? And it's the first time building something like this. So it was a learning experience for everyone, but they were learning, how to code, how to wire things up. So we had to figure out, okay, when the light turns on at a random destination, how do we measure how quickly that's clicked and, close the game and so on. And yeah, again, that was a huge success. Like everyone was super, super competitive. I definitely wasn't the fastest, but it was amazing to see, we had school groups coming in, getting to try out the game. But I think what was so special was the fact that like they were a part of building it, and it kind of flicked a switch in some of their minds of like, oh, okay, what if we started selling these? Like these go for thousands of pounds. Obviously we'd probably build it out of better materials, but they were already thinking, okay, there's like an idea here, there's a business here, there's an opportunity for me to learn. The next thing we built was a retro arcade machine, again reusing a lot of that OSB wood that we saved from that warehouse. We integrated our credit system into it, and it was amazing to see, literally in a few days we turned like this old PC monitor we recycled and like a bit of scrap wood into a playable game. What we probably spent most of our money on was this racing simulator, which was obviously a huge hit. And I think what's exciting about this is it's not just like a racing game. Like this is a 12 Newton meter wheel. It's got all the controls you'd have in a Formula One car. And obviously we have people coming in and racing, and it's crazy to think these are what the professionals use. So we could have the next, Formula One or rally car drivers literally in our town, and we don't even know it. So we ran a few events, one of which was an immersive showcase. We were looking at basically new innovative technologies around 3D scanning, turning Kerry John Phillips, a local storyteller, into a video game. So we were basically bringing his story to life through this technology. We ran workshops teaching kids, about the workflow essentially of creating 3D assets. Carl Sedgwick from Domingo Studios came and gave a talk on some of the toys that he's been playing around with, around 360 drone photogrammetry. And it was amazing because like people walking in off the street, getting exposed to all this stuff that, they wouldn't necessarily know about. And yeah, here's a few of the experiments that Carl had built, bringing history and heritage into the digital form. We had like this shark swimming down through uh, geocached AR thing. And yeah, I think this was probably one of the breakthroughs for us in the project, because there's always this question of like, right, how do we get young people to like care about their town? And I thought they're all obsessed with Fortnite, so I was like, what if I turn the town into a playable map inside Fortnite? So we essentially rebuilt the town, and you could literally run around and you'd collect these Battle Arcade tokens. But the point was, we got people exploring the town in a new way, and we got them interested in actually, okay, how do we build on top of this map? You know, all these empty spaces, what could we fill them with? And kids were coming back with like, oh, like I want to start a t-shirt brand, I could open a clothes store here, we could build a skate park, we could do like a rooftop cinema. Like, they were coming with all these ideas, you know, telling us, you know, what they wanted. And yeah, it was amazing to basically open up the back of the space where people could play it. So we had a competition of who could kind of collect all 20 coins in the fastest time. So yeah, you can run around, you could fly a plane. And yeah, it was just a new way of getting people to take a different perspective on the town. And we weren't just obviously letting people play the game, we were letting them customize it. So we were teaching them actually how it all works, how we can design 3D assets to put in the game. So everyone basically had the chance to contribute to what it became. And yeah, these are the custom coins that we made. So yeah, what that's kind of evolved into is some sort of an academy. And that's the kind of goal for the future, is to set up a network of kind of creative people who can run workshops, just sharing their skills, you know, as far from traditional education as you can imagine. This is for, you know, the people who disengage with school but still have a passion for, you know, design and technology, entrepreneurship, and basically just solving problems. Because essentially what I want to build is a space where we can build businesses and help people get work. And we couldn't have done that without the volunteers. So we had a lot of people come in and just helping us do the install, you know, painting, building the machines. My sister was helping code a game in Unreal Engine. Chris there was helping develop a lot of the web-based stuff. And you know, this isn't just for young people either. Obviously, you've seen everyone playing the games, but we had Lynn John from the Llanelli Community Heritage come in, and we basically dug out the archives of the town from the library, and we had a talk, you know, talking about the history of like how it's changed over the years. And it was fascinating, you know, to get older generations who grew up in those times, you know, reflecting on how good things once were and how we could get back to that again. So moving now on to phase 2, obviously we only had that space for a month. We're like, okay, what if we had a permanent space? So we've been looking at a potential unit in the town centre that's literally been empty ever since it's been built. It's an incredible space that I think is kind of perfect for what we want to do. And essentially, I gave this to like our group and was like, okay, if we had this space, what would it look like? You know, what would we want to be in there? You know, what would be the activities? Where would things go? And essentially, we co-designed this animation. And every character you see in here is one of the players that have like customized their own avatar. So the idea is, you know, it would be like an arcade. It would operate as a business, but in the day it would be like the academy. So that they had this idea of like a food kiosk, so you could like earn points, you could get food and drink. All of the games here would obviously be built by us, so we'd kind of reverse engineer a load of stuff. We could have a esports team, and obviously that doubles for us teaching them how to like build and design the games as well. We've got our top-up station, you know, the retro arcade games. We thought about having more active games, so you're on your feet as a controller instead of like hunched over a sofa. We had a bookable playroom where you could have every console, the old Ataris up to like PS5s, pool tables. And yeah, essentially that's pretty much what we come up with. So we're trying to bring that dream to reality. We've got loads of things on our to-do list, so we're looking for kind of sponsors, really, partners to help kind of make this dream of our battle arcades come to life. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of kind of what we've been up to, where we're at, and where we're heading. Thank you.